Hey y'all! Look, he disappeared that fast. The Lord ain't come back yet because he ain't leaving me.
That's right.
Now I'm just joking. Y'all, the heat was on, so we had to go turn the heat off. Hey y'all, y'all know what it is. It's Thursday this time. It's not Monday night, but it's 8 o'clock. It's Thursday. Y'all know for the month of December, we've been moved to December. I mean, we done moved to December. We done moved to Thursdays because something always happening. Christmas, New Year's. My kid had an instrument concert that he came out with his Christian Dior on.
Go ahead.
Yo, he was telling. I said, "So what you got on, son?" It's like Dior, Prada, a little bit, a little this, a little that. I'm like, "Bye, you're 10. Stop it." Anywho, so we're on Thursdays. We're on this Thursday, next Thursday. But I'm so excited to introduce my guest for the evening. My husband gonna get mad, and I'm gonna say this while he's not sitting down. But this is my stylist with the S on the end, stylist. He be like, "Why are you trying to take my stylist?" Nah, but this is our stylist.
Yes.
With an S on the end. Both of them. But I know, right? So y'all already know he'll be back in 1 second, y'all. But y'all already know Danny. She was on a couple of weeks ago back in November, and I'm so excited to have her husband on with us. He's legitly like a stylist, y'all. Both of them are. But I think I said so many women always compliment my so many women always compliment my earrings, and when I wear my husband when he wears his duster, the glory duster, everyone calls it. He got some power when he puts that duster on.
That's all right.
So you must have been tarrying over that fabric because
that duster is down there in my preaching robe.
Yo, that thing. Nah, but I know, right? If y'all see my husband on the red carpet, AJ's the one who styles him.
And Danielle makes the clothes that I wear.
Yes. She makes the clothes. She makes the jewelry. She's a jack of all trades. If you came to my birthday party in February, y'all know that decorations was done by her. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I'm so excited to have. Huh?
It's been a year.
Not yet. Almost. But I'm super excited to have both of them on tonight, creatives. But not only are they creatives, they got Jesus in them. They got Jesus deep down. They got Jesus deep down in their soul. What they say, soul staring, church back top, whatever you say. I don't know. But anyway, all right, where'd Danny go?
But the Lord, we lost her.
Lord Jesus. He ain't come back yet because we still here.
It wasn't a rapture. I came back, so it wasn't a rapture.
Listen.
But AJ, since we did have Danny on, I don't know what happened to her. I'm sure she's gonna come back on. But AJ, just introduce the people and tell him who you are, what you do, yada 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 yada. So Danny's gonna come back on. I'm gonna text her.
Yep. So I'm Anthony. Everybody calls me AJ. So what we do a little bit of everything. We do styling. There she goes. So we do everything from styling to I'm a gospel artist. I am an entrepreneur. Both my wife and myself are full-time entrepreneurs. The Lord finally released us to get off our job. We're off my job this year officially. So that's a blessing. What else I do? As a styling entrepreneur. I have a fragrance line. A Black business network that encourages business and teach businesses how to network. Y'all pray for my wife. Y'all know she's not tech savvy.
It's already neither mine.
Yeah, but yeah. So I started up a Black business network that helps people, trains people on how to network, with each other and just not going to the room, but how to actually maximize on being in the room and the importance of it. So yeah, do a little bit of everything.
That's dope. That sounds like you got a little branding on me. But anywho, because I ain't gonna call out none of your gifts, none of your many talents. He does everything, yo. He legitly does everything, y'all. I'm not even joking. You're dope creative. But like I said, you got a little Jesus in you. Hopefully Danny gonna join us. But tonight, let me introduce Mr. Tidra. Go ahead.
Hi everybody, I'm Mr. Tidra. Hi.
That's hilarious.
All she allowed me to say this week.
No, that's not true. So stop. He's something else. I want to talk. We're still talking about transformation. So look, transformation ain't going nowhere. That's what we talking about. Transformation is it. We're going to close out the year talking about transformation. I think it's so befitting because God always knows the end before the beginning before the end. But literally, I wasn't going here, but literally we were talking about the authentic you. And somehow we ended up with, I literally heard transformation. So And I think it's so befitting because we're leaving out of 2023 and going into 2020 for Lord willing. But I know that one of the things that everyone every year always wants to make a resolution, or everybody wants to, this year it's gonna be the new me and all this other stuff. But I think it's simple. Like literally, if you want to be transformed, like this scripture says, like be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Yeah. And I think that if you really want to be transformed, literally, it's literally making that declaration for yourself and really believing, like, listen, this is what it is. I'm sorry, I had a thought and it left me while I was in the middle of talking. What did Jerome say? Makeup. I think he said something like makeup in your mind. There we go. That's what I wanted to say. I could not think of what I was trying to say. But I think it's that thing where if we really declare and we're making up in our mind that, listen, hey, I really want to be transformed. I really want to change. I want to be the new me. Then it's like that thing where we have to really set our foot to it and just do it. Mm-hmm. Like Nike, right? Like Nike.
Like I want my wife to figure out what's going on with her phone. Please just do it. Please just do it. Do not disturb. If you
don't touch it. Look, please. Leave it up. Just don't touch it.
People are hitting her up, I'm sure.
Danny, right. Are you there? Look, Danny, are you there? Jesus. Danny, you there? You're muted. We can't hear you. I'm cracking up. She ain't even had this. She ain't have no trouble last time when we was on. Not a trouble at all. But
okay. Log off, then log back on, and we'll get you back on.
All right. So I do want to jump in. AJ, you can start us off, Kyle. So we got the brothers here, so y'all could, the brothers could talk.
Yeah.
Nah, but I want to talk about. I want to dig into transformation, but I kind of know where I wanted to go, and I just wanted to go. About stopping the deadly cycles, like leaving the deadly cycles of offense alone, right? Leaving the deadly cycles of just a deadly cycle of just repeating over and over and over, saying, I want to be new, but then get up and do the same thing you did yesterday. I want to be new, but get up and do the same thing, that we just do every single day, because it becomes our nature. It becomes so natural to us. It's so comfortable to us to be in sin. It's so comfortable to us to do, whatever it is that we have to do. So I just wanted to kind of dig into that. If y'all want to start us off just about the deadly cycles of, wanting to be transformed, but also the deadly cycles of offense. I want to talk about it. So
Danielle, can we hear you now?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Come on, Jesus.
Listen. The kids then called me like 5 times back to back, kept ignoring. They kept calling. Then all of a sudden, all those sound went away.
Well, that's important. Do not disturb when you're on a call.
Yes, put your phone on do not
disturb.
It's
on D&D, but they know if they keep calling me back to back, it'll go through, so they keep doing it.
I'm cracking up.
We'll have a session offline. You're not
All right, so let's jump right in though. About again transformation. Go ahead.
So I think the biggest thing is for me was I was truly. Well, first of all, let's dig into this. People always say, like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. First, that's not factual. Right. But you know what I mean? So really what it is sometimes you can get caught up in your expectation, but you don't know how to come out of the cycle.
Yeah, that's so good.
I know it was different things that I got caught in, like in my marriage or in my expectation, even my relationship with God, that I didn't know how to come out of different things because the way that you taught, the way that you've been, culturally, different things of that nature. So I think the biggest thing is really learning and sitting with yourself. That's what, I'm big on, mental health. I mean, like really sitting, digging through things. Sometimes just talking through something and just, with somebody's a third party that doesn't have any ties to you or anybody else.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the husband. You don't have to be the leader. You don't have to be the preacher, the pastor, the worship leader. So you can just be transparently you. You know what I mean? And I think that this year I'm my best self at 35. I'm my best self, and this was the best year for me. I'm still going through some crazy things, but I think I'm my best self because I was intentional about. I didn't go to therapy to be the best husband. I didn't go to therapy to be the best father. I didn't go to therapy to be the best worship leader. I went to therapy to be the best Anthony. Yeah. And then everything else began to really make sense in that process. And I think that's a problem. A lot of times we don't have the space to authentically be us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and we always have to apologize for being, you know, especially like, you know, a lot of times people don't understand like the responsibility of a man. You know, I mean, if you genuinely care about your family and you genuinely care about your children and you genuinely care about your name, like I tell people all the time, your name is all you have. So I know for me, like really, like they're really sitting and just talking through some things and hearing some of the things that I would say, it would be like, does that make sense? You know what I mean? So that my cycles are beginning to be broken even within myself, because I took the time and I did the work to really work on me for me and not for everybody else. And I made it from my mind that no matter what came out of this, if it didn't reflect what everybody else wanted it to be, I had to be okay with that.
Yeah, that's good. That is real good. What's your thoughts?
Ditto. No, so
Us and our brother.
Right. Like, come on. I want to hear.
No, I love what you said about getting the know-how to get out that cycle, right? Because a lot of times we'll say just get out, just stop, because a lot of times it ain't that easy. Yeah. You have to have help. You have to get the right people around you. And I love what you said about going to therapy, because a lot of times in our culture, therapy is looked at as being a negative, when in reality, sometimes it's a part of survival.
Yeah.
You know, you can't survive, or you're not able to live your best life if you don't go to therapy. And another thing with our culture we do is we shove Jesus in your face so much, right? Yeah. To where don't go to therapy. Ain't nothing Jesus can't fix.
Pray it out.
Take it to Jesus. Take it to the altar, and that's it. When in reality, you know, Jesus created therapists for a reason, right? He gave the gift for a reason. He created that profession for a reason. So the thing is, though, was that if he knew that we needed that, he wouldn't created it. Here, let me prove it. So when it comes to, you know, I look at this as being.
Sorry, go ahead.
I look at this as being how God created us not to be alone, right? Mm-hmm. And I really do believe that God has that for us in every aspect of our lives, to where we're not supposed to walk alone in any aspect of our lives. That's why he created companions for us. That's why he created friends. That's why he created, you know, associates. That's why he created all types of people to walk with us in our lives. So when we get to a point to where we just want to say, hey, I'll just lean on God, even God knew that wasn't enough, because he gave Adam somebody.
Yeah, that's good.
If God knew that, hey, if I'm just enough, he wouldn't have said man cannot be alone.
Yeah.
He created a companion. So the thing is, though, is that if God is that intentional to always give us somebody or to place us around somebody, why will we carry things unnecessarily alone?
Yeah.
Why will we have that weight on us and not talk to a therapist, not talk to somebody to help us get out of those cycles, get out of those places where we know that it's killing us? Sometimes we can't breathe because we're staying in the same room that has no air versus walking out the door. You have to change your environment and go to where someone is that can help you. All right.
Yeah. You know, it's something you said was so good. I thought about even with like the therapy portion of it, right? I think it's the same thing. Like I feel like for a long time, I really tried to navigate on my own, like, but it wasn't working. But to me, I was so used to my circumstances that any little bit of growth, I was just like, oh yeah, it's doing it. Like I'm doing something. But then what I would see is like, again, going back to that deadly cycle and thinking that something was happening, but nothing was happening because there was literally no movement, if that makes sense. So just because I woke up and I didn't do this for like 5 days, eventually that thing came back. One of the things I knew, when I was diagnosed like 3 years ago, it was literally like a mind shift. Like, I mean, like something when you get, you know what I mean? Like a blow to the stomach. And I went to my social worker at school and I was talking to her, just conversation. I was telling her, she was like, your life has changed. Like, what are you going to do about it? And I was just like, I don't know. Like, what are you talking about? She's like, you need to go to therapy. Like, you really need to go. You need to figure out how to navigate a change, right? And I think even with transformation, like, I know that we have to make that pledge, like, or that declaration, like, this is what I'm gonna do, but we can't do it by ourselves. Like, we have to partner with the Holy Spirit. But when I went to therapy, like, already what I was thinking in my mind, already what my pastor was preaching, the therapist literally, the first session, like, introduce yourself, yada, yada, yada. And she was like, okay, so this is what I'm thinking. When I say that what she said was aligned with what I was already thinking that I did not disclose to her and what my pastor was preaching about. And that's how I knew. I said, bingo, she's for me. And she was Christian. But I know, I mean, we know how, how Christians could be, but she really did not, like, she didn't, and it's the thing, she, like what you said, she didn't throw Jesus in my face.
Yeah.
She gave me techniques to navigate the season that I was in, and then asked me, so do you want this to be Jesus, like biblical? Because now I'm going to give you something Bible to back up what I'm saying, if that makes sense. And like what y'all basically both was saying, like, I think you said it though about the Jesus portion. I think sometimes we could be just overly religious, like Jesus this, Jesus that, Jesus this. And it's like, yes, but he doesn't push himself on us. So why are we pushing him on others? You know?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? He's so patient. He's so kind. He's gentle. He wants us to want him, right? But you plant the seed and then let up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think, again, like, going back to what you said, is just, I think that us as African Americans really got to know that it's okay not to be okay. It is okay to say, hey, listen, I really want to be transformed, but I can't be transformed because I don't know what I'm doing here.
Or I don't know how to.
I don't know how to.
That's the key. Not knowing how to. Because I know for me, at one point in time in marriage, and just newly being married, for me, I grew up in a very structured home. I was very sheltered, I guess you could say, to life. Not sheltered as far as, like, I had a 2-parent household, but I still got to do what I wanted to do a little bit. But I was sheltered to the effects the world can have on you as an adult. So I know at one point in time, it was just like, you couldn't tell me my family wasn't the end all be all. Like, my family, they did whatever they said because it was such a huge family. My grandma had 10 kids and they all had kids and kids. So you couldn't tell me my family wasn't the it thing. Like, we was the next best thing to the Cosbys, like, because it was so many of us. And it wasn't until I was newly into my marriage that I realized, like, some things about my family, like, wait a minute, this might be a little dysfunctional. Like, sometimes you gotta, like, be able to get into another situation or step out a little bit. Just to see, like, wait a minute, this is how I grew up. This is my learned behavior, but this ain't necessarily right.
Right. You
gotta have that open-mindedness to say, okay, so-and-so was married to Uncle Bob for all these years, but Uncle Bob done did X, Y, and Z to so-and-so. So, that ain't, and that's not what I want for my life. So I gotta,
that's real.
Right. So it's about being willing to change learned behavior, because a lot of people, especially church people, aren't willing to change that learned behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's real. And I feel like that goes right into what I was going to say about, if you want to be transformed, you can't hold on to unforgiveness, bitterness, anger, pain, trauma. And I feel like all those things, 99, and this is just me saying these horrible statistics, but 99% of the time it's like generational. 99% of the time it literally comes from our family, because like you said, I thought everything was right until I stepped outside and had a lens to look back in, like, no, wait a minute. Aunt Juju ain't bitter for no reason. Look, now every time she bickering at Uncle such and such, now I know it's a root to this bitterness, right? And look, and 9 times out of 10 is unforgiveness because Uncle Mike then said something to Aunt Juju back in the day. So now it's that thing that literally carries over. And then I think about the pain, right? And I think about trauma that we go through when we're little, and going back to therapy part, like, no, you are okay. Girl, you better go to that altar and let the pastor lay hands on you and pray for you. But it's like, nah,
cast it out.
Yeah, cast it out. Right. Like, cast it out. Like, no.
I said, even that's a cycle. Like, I mean, I remember at one point at the ministry I was at, and this young lady, and I'm not saying, I have nothing wrong. Like, just get what you need when you need to get it. But this young lady would go and do the same cry, and there's different types of cries. She would do the same cry and the same scream week after week after week after week after week after week after week. And it was like, at some point, you keep coming here. At some point, you know what I mean? Like, you need to get the same deliverance every week. Something's wrong. It's a cycle. So a lot of us keep visiting the altar, and it's like, yo, and you have to be intentional about it all. Nothing wrong with the altar. Like, trust me, I'm not saying it at all. But at the week after week, it's like, listen, I can't judge how long your process will take, but sometimes you have to learn how to go through your process and deal with your process. You know what I mean?
It's
and
that part.
You have to do outside of Sunday morning crying out at the altar. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not judging it, because at one point church will be the only place that I would cry.
Yeah.
Because I felt like that was my safe space.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I will only cry at church. But even that's a cycle, like, oh, go to the altar. Yeah, but what are you doing when you get up, then what? Because life happens after the altar.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a big part of it. Like, in all honesty, it's again, it's not being able to, or not knowing how to break that cycle. And like you said, no judgment that she went, but it's like, but what work are we really doing? And, nothing towards her. Cause I mean, I remember I was her, like literally, like maybe it wasn't every week, but I was like, Lord, I'm sorry. And then go do the same thing. Go fornicate. Go smoke weed. Go drink.
Who are you?
Bye. Bye. I ain't even gonna say nothing. I was about to make that comment.
Listen. Guilty,
my daughter,
listen,
my daughter made this comment, and she said to my husband, she said, "You don't even know my mom. Like, you married a whole transformed person. Like, this person right here, she's new. This is not like, you really don't know her. Like, I was cracking up. But again, that is, for me, someone that's watched me from the time she was, in my womb to now she's 21, to see a transformation happen, to say, okay, wait, if she can break cycles, if she's transformed, then I can be transformed, or I can be, or want to be, I should say, the better version of her, if that makes sense. So, but I think
better version of her.
Yeah, the better version of her. But I mean, she's watching, I should say, she's watching a better version of me, wanting to be better than me. Because that's one thing I always tell my kids. I want you to be better than me. Yeah. Right. I don't ever want you to stop where I stop. Like, be better than me. But anyway, I think that was so good that you said that, AJ, because again, these deadly cycles are like repeated offensive, if that makes sense. And I think it's like this hamster wheel sometimes that we can't figure out how to get off of, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that people don't realize that unforgiveness is connected to a lot of our lack of transformation. Mm-hmm. People don't realize that pain is connected to our lack of transformation. Trauma is connected to our lack of transformation. Tyler Perry said something the other day. He said, I'm not mad at, he said, not verbatim, but he said, I'm not mad at my mom. She did what she could do with what she knew. And I was like, wow, like that. I don't know what it was about that statement that he made. He's like, she did what she can do with what she knew. And I think that part is the part for me, the family portion of it, where the unforgiveness, the bitterness, because it's like, it's the cycles, and they do what they did what they could do with what they knew. But I think it's up to us to make that decision, or want to make that decision, to be a generational curse breaker. It's us that want to be transformed. Like, I don't want to identify with, you know what I'm saying? Like, what my mom taught me when I was younger. I don't want to no longer identify with that, because she taught me to be a Black, strong, independent woman that didn't need nobody for nothing. Mm-hmm. Yo, and shout out to my mom for that, though, because that literally carried me, though. Mm-hmm. It gave me my hustle, if that makes sense. It made me hustle. Like, I got a college degree when I wasn't thinking about college degree. I was thinking about working. That was it. But it pushed me for the hustle, like that hustle portion. But then when my husband came along, I didn't know how to get from him, if that makes sense. I couldn't receive from him. So even with him giving me money, I'm like, man, I don't need your money. I got this. I'm giving you money. And he's just like, what? Like, that's the fight over paying, remember? Paying for dinner and stuff. I'm like, man, I'm going to pay for you.
No. In all seriousness, that, when we first got married, that was a real big thing.
It was a thing.
And it was a learned behavior, because what happens is, because she was so strong and so independent, she wouldn't allow me to do for her, right? Yeah. So what happens is, it was, in essence, it wasn't about her being strong. It was about her cheating herself out of the love that I was trying to give. Yeah. And a lot of times, we get into this place where we're focused to say, this is what I know, this is what I learned, and you can't do this, only I can do it for me, because this is what I learned to do. Then the blessings that God has for you, you're not going to receive it, because you're so far like this, when God just wants you to be open. And I'll even say this to where, our daughter, it was to her too, right? Because even when I've noticed, like, we used to go to Target or whatever, like, just to grab stuff from the store. And I was like, oh, don't worry about it. I can pay for it. No, I got my own money. I know, like, it was a cycle, right?
Literally.
And I was just like, it ain't that deep. Like,
child, now she want us to take care of her.
Right. But now, right. Now
I'm 21. I'm in college. I mean, y'all should be taking care of me technically. I'm like
she matured now, but she also sees that the love and of also receiving. So it was a lot of things that had to get divorced in our household, but it was a transformation that had to happen.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen until everyone, including myself, was open for the transformation to happen.
Yeah.
And willing to do the work of what's needed to make it happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
So, but another part to that, I think too, being a single mom, because you were once a parent, So for me, it was like being that single mom, and I was the end all be all for my household and my boys.
Yeah.
I don't need you. My mom, she didn't lie when I had my son. It was, that's your baby. She wasn't that mom that got up and got the baby for me in the middle of the night. So I learned to be dependent. Like, if I didn't do it, they didn't get it type thing.
Yeah.
So it is hard transitioning from being this single, independent woman and parent to getting into a marriage where you have a man who wants to love on you and do for you. Because that was hard for us a little bit too. Like, because when I said was the haircuts with the boys. Them Memphis hair had to be curly, faded on the side, leave them curls alone, don't touch it. We went through that for years. It's like I couldn't accept him wanting to do or wanting to show them another way because I was the end all be all. It was it was like, no. Even their dads couldn't do that. No, this is what his hair gonna look like. You're gonna do it this way. I don't care if you go and taking them. So it's hard to sometimes transition when you've had to be, not necessarily you want to be, but you had to be that thing because that thing is embedded in you. And I do think it's a generational thing because, like you said, your mom, like my mom was the same way. My mom and my dad were married, but she didn't play that. My mom worked 4 jobs if she had to provide for us. Jeez. Even if she wasn't around, she was going to provide. So learning to be that provider, you don't always want somebody else to come in and try to provide. Because like, well, wait a minute, now I got to put my guard down a little bit. That feel like that ain't it.
No,
so
right.
I definitely understand that.
But that really was a thing. So like it's to the point like it was like we were years in, and it would be like you said in a cycle. It would be in waves, like certain waves. We got past the haircut thing, which was a big thing. I mean, the first time I changed Memphis haircut, and I just did it. Like I'm like at the point like I'm paying for these haircuts every week. He wanted to switch it up. He was scared to even tell her like because she loved his curly hair with his fade. Like that's all he was doing. So when he came home with a mohawk. And she walked in the house and he was so excited. So she didn't do it to him. And she was like, and you just when seen it, like her body was on fire. So literally, I'm looking at her. His haircut was like, I had to stick to one of the best barbers in Philly. So it was like, so I'm like, she gonna love this. He was so excited. When I said she looked at him, she was like, oh, it's nice, son. It's so nice. Da-da-da. So we ate dinner, everything. She was like, so you just didn't think that it was necessary to have a conversation with me? She was like, hey. I'm like, yeah, like, I mean, I didn't see the big deal. Like, I always change my haircut. She was like, yeah, but she was like, but that's my son. And it was like, oh, okay. But, and in that moment, it was just like, oh, shoot, like, maybe I shouldn't have. But then when we really talked through it, and which is crazy now that he's a barber, like not even linking any of that together, but like crazy barber now.
Right.
You know what I mean? We had no idea. Like we thought he was
going to be barber too. Shout out to Myth Cuts.
Shout out to Myth Cuts. Yes. Shout out to Myth Cuts. But yeah, so it was a thing, and it was like we were like 6-7 years into our marriage, until I really, I said, what am I here for? Like, you know what I mean? Like she would let me do. It wasn't like a thing. But it was a conversation like, so at what point are you really going to embrace the fact that you're married, that you have support? Like I'm like, babe, we done been together, we done been separated, and I never switched up. You know what I mean? So like, we already had the conversation. My boys are my boys, like the kids are our kids. No matter if we work or not, like it ain't nothing going to change. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? If you decide to move on to something else, I decide to move on to something else. That relationship is established. That's done.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, really, that was the thing. I'm like, well, what is the point of me being here? Like you were like your mindset. You're married and a single mother at the same time.
Say that again.
That literally no.
Free somebody.
I used to say that while I was married, I used to still say that I was a single mom.
She was like, no, you're not. Stop saying that. And
he would say, like, you're not. And I'd be like, well, yes, I am, because you're not the father of my kids. Like, it was so weird. Like, just the things that was embedded already in my mind. It was like, no, I'm a single mom. Like,
yeah. And she said to me one time, like, well, because she was like, 'cause at the end of the day, if we don't work and you leave, I still have to be prepared to make sure that they're always going to be
right.
Good.
No, right.
Wow.
And see, and then so for me in the later years, I learned that was me operating out of trauma, because you mentioned trauma earlier.
Right.
Because I was so traumatized from previous relationships. It's like, even though I let him in and we were married and everything, it's like I still had some of a guard up because I was used to men letting me down.
Yeah.
So like, okay, no, because at the end of the day, if you go, and because we were separated at once, so my guard was a little higher. It's like, no, I gotta be mom. And now I gotta be mom to this third kid. Like, wait a minute, was added. And this is a little girl who's more sensitive. So it took me a long time to get out of that, like to really break that. And I know we talked about therapy, and I'm pro therapy. Trust me, I've tried therapy several times, but I do feel like in some seasons, I won't say forever, but it is some season where God will close you into just him. Yeah. That's when I learned how to break that thing. Because for me, even though I would go to therapy sometime, I've been to like 3 different therapists. Sometimes I was embarrassed to really tell them what's really going on. So that's another topic, because people will go to therapy, but they ain't going to really get to the nitty gritty. And at one point I was really embarrassed to say, this is what's really happening to me. I would give a little bit, because I'm paying you for your time. So I get a little trauma. I give my childhood stuff. But to talk about them now things and them recent that was currently going on, it was like, oh, I couldn't do that in the beginning. So it's a lot, like, to break down the different barriers and the different layers of trauma to even be vulnerable enough to even talk to a therapist. So I think that is one thing that's major. And I love and shout out to my husband for going to therapy, because that's one thing. In the beginning, like, we would go to marriage counseling and we'd be sitting there and we just start talking fluff. And I'm sitting like, oh God, why we here? The nitty gritty, like, why we here? But now that he's actually doing the work for him and not for me, I really do see the difference in him. Like, we either get together this week, and I'm like, I looked at him across the table. I'm like, who is this person? Because this new him that's showing up. I'm not, who is this?
Yeah, but isn't it something where, like, I feel like when you work on you, that everybody reaps the benefits of you working on you. And I think, and I let's touch on marriage counseling. I think that's funny. We went to marriage counseling. I think it was like 2 sessions, but it was like the one session changed my whole life, because I was so, again, pointing him. He's doing this to me. He's doing this. And exactly what you said, though, Danielle, because sometimes therapy is the seed, like, where you're letting it out. I feel like, but it is like the Holy Spirit is the worker. Like, he does the work. And I remember when I left and came home, and I remember the Holy Spirit said, you. Like, you said him, but it was you. It was all you. Literally, it wasn't what he was doing. He's my son. I'm going to work on him, but it's you. What are you going to do to change you? I'm telling you, when I tell you, I'm not even lying. And I think that was the break in our marriage that changed the whole trajectory of our marriage, because it was not going well. Like 1-2 years, I think we were on year 2 by then. It was like 2 or 3. Remember, like year 3, our marriage just changed for the better. Yes.
No, I'm
that look was like year 3. Like,
no.
Year 7.
No.
That look, that look had a little something on it. I'm like, I tell y'all, I felt it. I looked in his soul. I felt it.
Transformation never stops.
No, of course it never stops. But that was the break for me to want to be better. And like you said, it was me that had, I can't be AJ said it. I can't be a good wife if I'm not being a good me. Like, I can't be a good mom or show up as a good, whatever, if I'm not being a good me, because it's me first. Right. And I think it, like, literally, we always, and this goes right into it literally marries transformation, that we always want to point the finger, like, literally, and it becomes offense. I'm offended because you're not doing what I want you to do. You're not changing the way I want you to change. So now I'm in offense, and it creates anger. It creates bitterness. It creates these things. But then, like I said, me crying, Lord, change me. Lord, help me. But it's like nothing's happening, because, again, I'm in offense with him, and I'm pointing the finger at everybody else, but I'm really not pointing the finger at me and looking in the mirror. Let's say the man in the mirror. I'm not looking at the girl in the mirror and really saying, wait, this transformation thing really starts with me, and it doesn't start with everybody else around me.
And that's so huge. Like when I said at one point, and Danielle was just like, "You're angry." To the point when one time she told me, she said, literally, "I'll be willing to let you go for your peace." She said, "You're miserable here." She said, "We'll be fine." She said, "You're miserable." She said, "You come home miserable, you wake up miserable, you go to bed miserable, you can laugh and smile around everybody else, and you walk in, and literally your spirit just." It got to the point where, because I didn't feel like it was space to take care of me or to deal with me, because I had responsibility here, there, like literally everywhere. So to me, my biggest thing was I resented like my wife and kids, like literally, like you know, my bio kids, you know what I mean, like you know what I mean, my bonus kids. I literally resented them and didn't know it. Like I didn't know that I just was angry. They could do one thing and it would send me through a roof. I'm storming out the house. I'm like, and I would tell, like, be repeating to people like, yeah, because they're like, that's all that happened. And I'm like, yeah, the cup was in the sink. You know what I mean? It was like, but it would send me through a roof. I'm struggling to pay all these bills and y'all leaving cups in the sink. It was so stupid. I mean, stupid. Cups in the sink, but like, so like you said, that offense, like anything that they did would offend me because I didn't feel like it was room for me to work on me and deal with me or to be heard and communicate. And I never knew, like, so it was different conversations that Danielle would have. And so she had a conversation with the kids a few years back. And they were like, to the point where my kids would have conversations about how angry I was. And they were so scared, like, to just like not be perfect in front of me. And I didn't even notice it. But I dealt with the same thing from my dad. Like I always wanted to be, and I vowed to never be that person. But I hated something about him so much, I had became it. You know, it really was a thing for me. But I resented them, and I did not realize it. And she's like, listen, I'll divorce you. You're like, it's okay. Like she's like, I don't hate you. You tried. This is like you definitely tried.
Crazy.
Like, she said if leaving will make you that happy, go ahead. And I'm like, well, no, I ain't say I want to leave, but I didn't know how to stay either. But I knew that I couldn't stay like that. So like even now, like I'm a definitely more better person and transparent person. But like even hearing their feedback or they had a private conversation outside of me, like, no, we just didn't know. Well, why he just didn't communicate? Like I really feel like it helped me. Like I'm really like just learning how to be a father. Like I'm really just learning. Like I share all the time when my daughter was first born. My first bio kid. So when she was first born, and I was even resentful at the fact that I was, making sure she was in the hospital for 2 weeks. The baby was in the hospital for about 2-3 weeks. So in my mind, I'm like, I had to make sure I was still working. We had just got married, had this big wedding. We had just moved. She got pregnant right away. It was just like a whole thing. So in my mind, I'm like, oh man, I had to still make sure the boys got to school, pick them up, go see the baby every day, go see her every day, make sure she was good. She had to get blood transfusions. It was just like a lot of stuff going on. I'm like, whoa. So when my daughter was actually born, I was so caught up in trying to do everything right and make sure everything was provided for. Like I was so resentful of other people because they even like some of my hood friends was like, man, when that baby come out, you gonna cry. And I'm like, so I'm looking at my daughter and I'm like, thank you, God, she's here, she's healthy. I could not cry. It took me almost a month or two to really even embrace that connection with my daughter. Like, and I loved her and I was happy she was here and but it was just like in my mindset, I'm like, well, I'm already a parent, like the excitement. And then I was mad that I'm like, well, dang, I've been in such a parent mode that I can't even enjoy this moment of my first, and it just was a crazy, like 3-6 months. And she looked up at me and I'll never forget it. Like Danielle had stepped out or was shopping or something. And it was just me and her. And she looked up at me and she just looked me eye to eye and just smiled something. And I cried for the rest of the night. And it was like, God, do I love my baby? Because I'm like, even my hoodest friends cried. Like, God, like, no, for real. So I remember I was in the hospital holding her and I'm like, you gonna shed a tear. Because if you don't shed this tear, there's something wrong. You know what I mean? But like living through that spirit of offense and this, that, and the third. But like even with that, I was even resentful toward them at that moment because I was like, I felt like my moment was snatched because I was already in parent mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now, literally, and I always thought that I was like, oh well, maybe we gotta have another kid so I can have a boy biologically. When I tell you, like literally where my mindset is now, I don't feel like I missed out on anything. Like I was around the boys most of their life, but like literally, like when I say my relationship with my boys now literally, like, especially my oldest, and that was the one that was the hardest to accept me. To me, they were always respectful. We never had no problems like that. But he was just like very like, all right, cool, you know, all right.
Yeah.
Me and him mirror each other. So me and Memphis mirror each other so much, you would never know. Like to the point where people like, oh yeah, I know that's your son. I know that's your son, and I'll be so me and Memphis.
They do that. They do that with us, with my son and child.
And,
like, oh, he look like him. Like,
right.
Now,
I be laughing like, oh, he does.
I didn't tell you that. So at church, was it last week? One of the deacons come over to me, just like, yo, you spend a lot of time with your family because it's to the point to everybody look like you now. I was cracking up.
It's real though. It's really a thing. Like if people say, "Oh yeah, you're officially older in love when you start looking alike," and I really feel like it's a thing. It's a thing.
Well, that's so good. That was so good. No, go ahead.
Before you pivot, I want to just touch on 3 things that you have brought out.
3 points. You're gonna preach it.
You just took a deep breath.
I did. Like,
I do have 3 points.
Come on.
In the closing.
Yes. All right, come on.
All right. So one thing you said was you were speaking about your father, right? You were saying that you became the very thing that you did not want to that you didn't want to become, right?
Wow.
So the thing is though was that when I heard that, one thing I wrote down was you became the vow that you wanted to avoid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You became the vow that you wanted to avoid, because a lot of times we make these vows in our lives that says, "Oh, I know when I have this situation or when this happened, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah,
I will make sure I'm not going to do this." But because you put so much emphasis on it, it becomes a part of who you are because you're too focused on it.
Right. No, that's real.
Yeah, and that right there, and that's why I had to learn not to take vows, right? Not to put things into motion or put things out in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because the thing is though is that when you do that, you kind of become that.
Yeah.
Another thing
but I just want to just touch on vows real fast. I think that people don't understand that we really do make vows. Like, I will never be like my mom, or I will never be like my dad, or I will never go there, or I will never be this. But it's just like exactly what you're saying. We end up being, but it's like that offense really is that anger.
Yeah.
No, listen to you.
Yo, I swear, y'all, I keep looking at him and it's like I'm looking down in his soul. All right, let me stop looking at you. Every time I look at him, it's like, so where you going with this?
No,
like,
it's not that at all.
But honestly, I think that's a husband and wife thing, because I understand that, because it's like almost like that's because
like, what have I done wrong,
Dave? Do not flow.
No, I think again, vows are. Let me just end with this one sentence. Vows prohibit us from transformation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Vows are not a boundary. Vows are a hindrance.
Come on, high five.
All right. Vows are a hindrance to transformation or for transformation. Yeah. All right, go to your second point, preacher. We probably can tag team.
We probably could tag team, preacher.
Like, no, go ahead.
No, but I would say another thing that you said. You were talking about how you would get angry, right? Where they would do stuff, and then you go outside and tell somebody else like they did this, and like that's it. And what I heard was there was unmet expectations that wasn't communicated.
Wow.
Right. And I know a lot of times that we do that. I know I'm guilty of it as well. I think we all do that, really, to where we expect someone to act a certain way or do a certain thing, not because we told them or laid down an expectation, but it's because that's what we want and never said it.
Yeah.
Right. So then when you don't say it, you hold on to it. It creates a seed of bitterness. It creates a seed of anger. It creates a seed of anger, like
bitterness.
So, yeah,
you said bitterness,
bitterness,
anger,
being mad, pain, trauma, all types of stuff, right? So all types of things come up out of that when you start, when you really start
Ain't no book
holding on to things that's so unnecessary.
Jesse,
right?
shut up.
So you have to
talk about Reverend Kyle.
That's hilarious. But no, but in reality, when you have these unmet expectations, you are, because you refuse to communicate, it is hard for men to communicate. Because you refuse to communicate, that's where it creates a cycle. It creates a cycle to where now everyone is now walking on eggshells because they don't know you hot, you cold, you warm.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do, what not to do. They just trying to figure it out.
No, that's real.
And they don't know what ticks you off, what don't tick you off because you never communicated. And that's one of the things to where, you know, a lot of times I have to check myself to say, are you angry because they did something you said not do? Or are you angry because you never communicated?
Yeah.
And that's the big thing I check myself on.
I think miscommunication, honestly, is a big thing. But I think that one of the things is, again, we use unmet expectations as a hindrance to be transformed.
Yeah.
Like literally, we use those unmet expectations because I know plenty of times when I remember what I thought somebody was supposed to be something for me or to me, like they were supposed to be this to me, my friend, let's just say, or my sister, or my, you know, whatever they were supposed to be for me. And when they didn't meet my standard, then they weren't that. But I was an offense because they weren't what I thought they were supposed to be to me.
Yeah.
Like literally, but what it did was create a vow. That's why I don't fool with females. That's why I don't want to But again, it's a hindrance now to me transforming into being a better woman, a better mother, even a better friend. Like literally. Okay, what's your third point, Pastor?
Well, Pastor Capers said people don't like confrontation. They misconstrue communication with confrontation.
No, that's serious. Like
good.
I always tell people healthy confrontation. That's what you can healthy confront somebody. And you're just literally sticking to the facts. So you stick to the facts, you tell the person how it made you feel, and then you hash it out. But when you start going all with the lolly lolly woo woo woo, it's too much and you ain't doing it right. Like I'm literally, that's what I tell my kids. Healthy confrontation. If you didn't like it, you have to confront it. Literally. But it's ways that we confront these things. We confront it by sticking to the facts. All right, third point. Come on.
So the third point that I have here is
blacking out.
You know, one of the things you said was that because you were doing so much and you were doing everything, you forgot to take care of you, right? And a lot of times as men, we what I have is what I call provider syndrome, right? Because we want to provide so much and do so much, and we forget that we are the essence that have to take care of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Because we're no good for anybody. If we don't first take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? We have to take care of ourselves. Because if we don't do that, we're going to malfunction. How about that?
Yep.
Right? We're going to malfunction.
I like that.
Because we're really going to be in a place to where, you know, we think we're doing good, but we're actually doing damage, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens is you know, and I even think about just the scenario that you said was, you know, you're home, you're there, but then you're angry. Right? I know I've been this way too, right? Coming home mad, coming home angry because of circumstances. Why are you looking at me like that?
I did that on purpose, like, oh, you was mad? And you wasn't going to tell nobody? It's like, no, I knew he was mad.
No, but reality, sometimes men will come home, we'll be angry about whatever happened out in the world, whatever, and then we're angry because the weight that's on us because we're providing so much and being so much to everybody else that we lose ourselves in the process. So when that happens and we don't know who we are and we lose our identity, we lose our purpose, we lose our focus, then we put ourselves in a place to where we're going to malfunction. We're not going to know what to do or how to do it properly because we think we're doing good. We're messing up and doing something wrong, or sowing seeds unnecessarily in our home that don't need to be there just because we didn't take care of us. Yeah. We have to remember we're just as important as everybody else.
All right, let me close you out. So, sorry, no, I'm just playing. He knows I hate when he does that. I hate when he does that. No, so I want to ask y'all. Pastor Capers, do not hype this man up because he will go like for real. Mason, he does not like any of that hoo ha 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 when they preach. He will walk right out. Like when he even acts it, he walks right out the room like,
he don't want it.
He don't want it because he know it ain't real. But anyway, he can't stand it though. But anyway, what I was gonna say was, for y'all, right? Specifically for y'all, because I know that, right? I don't know like all y'all story, but I know like even when Danielle transitioning from her career in and doing what she's doing now. You transitioning from many things that you have done. Like, I'm not going to be a worship leader no more. Now I'm going to be like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. I'm going to do this. And so tell me a little bit about y'all two just as a unit, like as far as the transformation and having to leave people behind or having to block out the naysayers, right? Because I think Danielle, shout out to you for real, because I don't got it in me yet to just take a leap like that. I really don't. I really want to have it in me, but I don't have it in me. I'm not even joking. I'm hoping the Lord will work on me. But I think about how when we transform from one position in life to a season, we'll just say seasons. When we transition from a season to a season, transformation has to happen, right? Because we clearly we go through the seasons to be transformed, right? Tell me just how, when, where, however you want to tell me, but what does that look like when you're transitioning from one season and having to shut out naysayers, transitioning from this season to this season and having to shut out naysayers? Speak on that a little bit.
That's so weighted. It's so many.
Yeah.
Give me the overview. Because I'm thinking about, this is where I want to go with this.
It's good.
I'm thinking about how when we transform, we stay around the same people. Like when we want to be transformed, we stay in the same environment. We stay around the same people. We keep going to the same places. We keep doing the same routine, the same thing, right? And I think about Abraham. Like God, I literally had this in my notes. I'm not even joking. Abraham he could have been offended with God when he said, take everything and leave, right? He took his family and he took Lot with him. But sometimes God has to show us better than he could tell us. I literally wrote this. I have this for you, but I have this specific thing for you for what, like Danielle, transitioning from here to there, like you, AJ, transfers from here to here. I have this for you, but in order for you to receive it, you can't have the same perception, the same environment, the same family, the same friends, and you have to move to a place where I want you so I can do what I need to do in you. But you won't be transformed if you kick and fight and stay. I literally wrote all of that. But I speak on that kind of like, I want to be transformed. So if you're talking to me and I'm telling you I want to be transformed, and I just told you that a little bit, just speak on that a little bit.
So I know for me, it was more so just learning to trust God with it. Yeah. Because in the beginning, I was in banking for 16 years, and toward the end of my banking career, God did kind of like set me up for the next step. So recognizing when God's setting you up and then taking that jump, because
that's it right there.
I started making jewelry in the closet, doing the separation. Then I transitioned to Anthony coming back. We had the whole house to ourselves. My business is now in my living room. I'll never get to, you got to get it out of here. It's taking over the house. So then giving me a space where I can pay to still run my business, but I was comfortable paying it because I still had my 9 to 5. So during the time when I was about to transition out, or he was moving me out, I was scared because that bank salary versus these masks or these brooches wasn't the same.
Right.
So I was nervous.
And
I really had to contemplate. So when the pandemic happened and I had to make that choice, I was tuggling with, okay, do I just quit my job and stay home with these kids because I got to go to school virtually, or do I just stay and tough it out with these kids because I got to pay? Now I only got my regular bills, but now I got the shop bills. So I was tuggling back and forth, and I literally 2 weeks before I had to make my decision, God just did it for me. Mm-hmm. Like he really, like I was off on a Wednesday. It was a Thursday. I was off Wednesday, went to work Thursday, and I walk in the bank. I'm like, okay, where's my loafers? I got all my little I've been there for so long. I had room closets and stuff of my own there. Where's my loafers? I can change my shoes real quick. Couldn't find my stuff. Long story short, it was a lot. Long story, me and my manager are very close. We're still close to this day, but she had to let me go. They let us go. Like the 3 top people in our branch at one time. So, and I couldn't believe it because she's sitting there and she's not saying nothing. That's how naive I was. I'm like, she ain't about to fire me because I just know she acting weird, but she a little moody sometimes. So that's just her. But God literally had them people. So the district manager's on the conference. They fired me on a conference call. They had me on a conference call. We do conference calls every morning. She's like, why are you on? Danielle, do you know why you on this call? I'm like, yes, isn't this our morning call? And she's like, no, you're terminated effective immediately. And I said, oh, but mind you, my manager made me call her on my cell phone. So I'm like, well, I'm doing the conference call on my cell phone, but whatever. I'm just trying to hurry me get the bank open. So whatever, I'm gonna do the call. So I was like, oh, okay. And I couldn't say anything else. I literally hung my phone up and looked at my manager. And I said, I have to call my husband. So she's crying. All these tears running down her face. And I look around right before I go in. I'm looking around. I'm in my old office because I had just got a promotion and everything. Had a new position. So I'm in my old office where my stuff usually is. And I look around like, oh, all my stuff is back here. I said, oh, y'all really just fired me, huh? So I called Anthony. I said, babe, I think I just got fired because it still wasn't registering.
Yeah.
I think I just got fired. I said, I don't know whether I should cry or should I shout? Is this relief or is this sadness? I don't know. Because I wasn't ready for the transition that way, because I think sometimes when we think about going to the next step, we know how we want to do it. Like
that part.
And God set it up for me. So I called Anthony. He was like, all right, we'll come home. I'm gonna take you to lunch. I was like, what? It was like the Twilight Zone for me. So it was weird. So for me, I would say, for me, transition, I just had to learn to trust God and to look back. So I really like driving home with all my belongings now. I'm just looking like, okay, God, but you set me up for this. Because you knew I wasn't going to make that decision in 2 weeks. I probably would have postponed it.
Yeah.
So you knew this was my time. You knew this is where you wanted me to go. I had already had my first shop space. Like, you knew. And then my husband didn't trip. Because, we'd be scared sometimes.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, let's go to lunch. And I'm like, what? Because he was already working from home. So I couldn't believe it.
Remember, I had got laid off. I got laid off 2 weeks before she did. This is during the pandemic. So I had got laid off 2 weeks before she did. And the morning that
you better celebrate with your balloons. You better celebrate your balloons.
Yeah, you better celebrate with your balloons.
So no, the morning that she went to work, the morning that she got let go, she went to work. I was up, I'm brushing my teeth. She's in the bathroom doing her little final touches, and she says, she was like, I really don't want to go. I'm so tired of going to this place. And I said, you got a few more weeks and you make a decision. And she was like, I wish today could just be my last day.
Ain't it something how we speak?
So this was the conversation we had. So when she called me, I said, she I don't know what to cry or shout. I said, well, it's no need to cry. I said, you can't cry for what you prayed for.
Wow.
Come on, let's go to lunch. She came home, she changed her clothes, we went to lunch. And I said, we're gonna be good. She was like, well, you just got laid off and this and the third. When I say like God said that we never lost a bill. We never missed the bill. We never struggled. When I said we traveled the entire pandemic, like different countries, like literally, it was just something different. But God had already had things in place and in line.
Yeah,
like it just set up, and it was just like it just was really divine. And she was left in 2 weeks. I mean, the money was good. You know what I mean? Honestly, same thing. She wouldn't have left in the 2 weeks. So it was just like, we were just home just figuring it out. And then all of a sudden her business started going like this. Like she said, like, and it was a crazy situation, but she was staying up at night and she was tired. So she was doing all these custom masks and this and the third. And literally, this before she even got into the decor or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So literally, what she would do was she would pray over everything.
That's why that thing is anointed.
Yeah, so she would pray.
That's why you be preaching.
But I told her,
I put it on. It's
every time you put it on. I'm not even joking, y'all.
Never forget that what got you started. And I started really praying, like, like to this day, like she'll be asleep. I told her the other day, she was like, just ended her up saying, that's why I pray for you. Like a bunch of vision, your creativity, Lord bless the work of her hands, anything that she touched, anything that she believes. And literally, like if you see the decor that she never went to, like she took certification classes later on, but like when it came down to the decor thing, and I'll put her up against the best of them, and not because she's my wife. I'm a very picky person. Yeah. But literally, I truly believe that she's anointed in creativity. It's not just something, it's not just a gift. Too. You know, I
concur. She is.
And literally, it was important to me. So even when I decided to step out, so I wound up going back to work. Maybe a few months after that, I wound up going back to work. Just to have that little stability thing. We were doing good financially, but I wanted to be sure. Unemployment was starting to run out and things like that. So we had to be realistic. But it got to the point where just like so last year, like maybe March, April, where the business was doing good, and I was just like, I'm literally holding on to this position. They would have never let me go. Like literally, I probably still could have been dragging them along. And I was laying in bed, and the Lord, like I felt so convicted. He said, somebody's praying for this job that you're taking for granted. Somebody needs this job, and you're using it as your crutch. Either you're going to trust me, or I'm going to make you trust me. Mm-hmm. And I said, God, I know what it's like for you. I don't want that. I don't ever want to like stay in a season too long. But really, He pushed me out. So like I think it was really like about having that support. And when I came to her, I had the conversation, and I think because I prayed that it was because I had shown, you know what I mean, that I would always, no matter what, make sure that we were good.
Yeah.
When I said I really feel like God is leading me here, and I was scared, you know, to say like, you know, I'm gonna step out full time. I'm gonna leave this job this time. They ain't gonna let me leave. And she was like, "You got it." Oh, okay. And that's honest, and that's what gave me the comfort that I needed. Like, like you got it. She's like, yeah, do it. She's like, if God told you to do it, do it.
Yeah.
And this has been still like with everything that has gone on in life, in spite of every crazy things and enemy fighting, this has been one of the best and blessed years financially for us.
Yeah.
Like just even with like with faith, with fashion, with relationships, and with the whole disconnecting piece of it. When I say it went through a season where like we were set up like by one of the people that were closest to us that we brought in. And somebody that, I mean, like she was in our spent holidays with my family. Like and had no idea, would have never expected it. Well, Danielle, she had a little feeling about it always. But I'm like, no, baby, you gotta learn to trust people, you know. But I'm like, you know, but you know, I mean, that type of thing. But literally, it was such a blessing. Like it was such a blessing to say, like, yo, God really positioned us and he really prepared us. And it was, I mean, I was crushed. It was a season that really could have took us out. It was all wrapped up in that one spin. I would have, like, you know, like what life would have looked like in that spectrum. It was, I mean, social media. It was just craziness. But when I say literally that, when we made it through that, and when that taught us not to be afraid to tell our story, because it was things in our marriage. Like, you know, I'm a worship leader. We can't say that part, because what if I gotta sing these people church? We can't do that. When I tell you, like, listen, it's nothing that in our marriage that we will not share now. And honestly, and I said it when we renewed our vows, and I feel like that freed and released something. I said, there's nothing that exposed about me or us, because I'll say it first. Even down in our vow renewal, I said down to infidelity. I said, you stuck with me through infidelity, and you showed me what love looked like. You showed me what endurance looked like. I said, so therefore, and I say it every anniversary. If anybody will say, oh, you're as spoiled as she may be, or this and the third, like my wife works hard, so it ain't like that type of thing. But like, there's nothing that Danielle can't
get.
She
didn't, that's your wife. If you spoiled,
that's your wife. That's your wife.
There's nothing that she can't get, not simply because she's my wife, but because she earned her position and she earned everything that she gets. You know what I'm saying? To me, so it's an honor to even be in the season to be able to provide for her in that type of capacity. Because literally, she stuck with me through things that I told her, honestly, I don't know if I could have stuck with you through.
Right.
That's right.
There you have it.
Right.
Yeah, that's real though.
Yeah, so
that's real.
That taught me. She taught me how to deepen my relationship with God. Because my thing is, if God could show her, and my wife, like you said, this woman that everybody see now, and I tell people all the time, please, people think I'm the nice one. Please. I love my wife, but I'm telling you, we were friends first. She crazy. And some things that we talked about and that I seen her, like, listen, I'm telling you, crazy, okay? So I tell people all the time, I'm like, literally, for her to have a certain level of grace with me and see how she interacts with me, and to know that she prayed to have that grace and patience with the man that God would send her next. It's like, yo, like, God, you've proven to me what relationship looks like through my marriage.
That's good. That's really good. That's really good. I can't even talk. We're gonna end on this note, because I feel like you said with everything that you needed to say. I'm not even joking. If you could withstand something, that thing, whatever that thing is, it's like one of those things that you could withstand anything, right? So if you can, we get so caught up in such these little things, I feel like, and it's like, it's not about us. We make everything about us, and then offense comes, anger comes, bitterness comes, pain comes, trauma comes, like, but it's like God just wants to transform you. That's it. He wants you to be, I'm sorry. He wants you to be, because I got it. He wants you to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, but he wants you to be made in his image. And I just think that people get so scared at that. And it's just like, no, just work. Just work. That's all you got to do. I want to close out here. I said to my husband a couple of days ago, I always say my husband. Now, we've been married 7 years. But anyway, my friend said, "Shy, you still say husband like y'all been married, like, yeah, this is y'all first year." But anyway, I said to him the other day, I said, I love all my friends that I have. I really do. I said, but I want new friends again. But I told him I want new friends that are higher than me. I said, I don't want to be able to even think on my level. Like I said, when I literally, I told him, I said, when I think on, I don't want to be able to think on my level, right? But even if I had the thought of thinking on my level, it's like those friends, I want them to be able to be like, nope, think higher. It's just, I think about literally, I kept hearing like my ways are not your ways. I kept hearing that earlier today when I was driving in the car, and I said, thank you, God, for your ways not being like my ways, for real. But I just thought about, again, how God thinks different. He thinks, of course, higher than us. His ways are not our ways. And I want friends like that. Because I just told my husband, like, where I'm deciding I'm being transformed again, right? Transformation is a daily thing for me. But I'm being transformed into another season of my life. Like I'm 40 and I'm about to walk in it by being 41. But it's like I was telling, I really want friends that literally think higher than I. And again, I want all my friends that I have. But it's just those, because I love all my friends that I have are friends that I really have. I value each relationship because we have created these individual relationships. But I want more friends, and I want them to think higher. I want them to be where the place that I'm going, if that makes sense. I couldn't get it out. But I want, just like when I said that if Abraham would have became offended with God, he wouldn't have been able to get everybody to where they were supposed to get to. Right? Could you imagine? Like, you know what I mean? If I stay in this offense for 15 more years, I'm not going to be the person that God wants me to be. Like, I'm not, which means that when I'm not who I'm supposed to be, then that means I'm not showing up for as a wife. I'm not being the wife that I'm supposed to be. I'm not being a friend I'm supposed to be. I'm not being the boss that I'm supposed to be. I'm not being a coworker that I'm supposed to be. I'm not being a mom I'm supposed to be. I'm not being like, literally. And it's so funny. I got this BU shirt on, but I'm literally no shit, no plugs. What's it called? No plugs. No, whatever. No shameless plugs.
Listen, this is a shit. No, let it.
It is. Yes, I made this for myself.
This is right
behind the camera. I made it over there behind the camera.
This is your husband's brand. Yes. It was the word.
It just so happened that I have it on, but seriously. But that I'm just thinking now. Because it has been years that God's been transforming me. My mindset now is shifting to I want to go to that place where I'm supposed to be, but I can't go there no more. It was that too. It was, I can't go to this place because I really, even though I don't drink, I don't do these things, but I need people to be able to really receive me for who I'm supposed to be in their life. So I'm not going to go to this place because they're not going to be able to receive me. Even if I don't do what I'm supposed, what they're doing in the environment, they're still not going to be able to receive me because I'm in that I'm in that same environment. So if I really want transformation to happen, I can't go there. I can't still be with the same people. I can't be with the same coworkers in a break room that are talking about people, or I can't, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, but y'all speak on that and we're going to close out.
Well, so the biggest thing is I was getting so antsy because it was getting so good to me.
Right. I saw it in your
that's the churchy side. That's the churchy side of me. The tap is my preacher man. No, I'm just playing. But I think that genuinely, not only will God send new friends. If you think about the story of Jesus and the disciples, all of them were strangers.
Yeah.
You know? But at the end of the day, he couldn't have fulfilled his assignment, what he was born to do, with the people that he was born amongst.
Yeah, so, that's good.
Even down, you think about the story of David, like literally his family could not even receive him. So therefore he had to go out and step out and then go back. So at the end of the day, he had to be around somebody and prove who he was first. So that was the first. That's one thing. But not only will God send, and I'm in this season, so I can really say it. Not only will God send the people, but we can't be guilted into staying around those people, because some of those friends, I'm just outright say it, some of the people that are closest to you, you may lose.
Yeah.
Because God will not allow you, because because with a new transformation and a new level, God will send a new burden. So at the end of the day, you can't carry that weight of your old burden or the old people, because God's going to also give a new burden. Yeah, his yoke is easy and the burdens are light, but when it comes down to it, there's still something that you're going to have to carry. So when it comes down to it, sometimes I felt guilty about being in a new financial place. I felt guilty about not being needing and being around certain people because it made them feel uncomfortable, or certain comments that were being made. Oh, you think you're this? No, I don't think I'm this, but God has showed me that I'm called to be. So I can't longer feel guilty because I don't fit in with this place in this box that you put me in, that I put the person that I introduced you to, that I'm in. But in those ones are meant to remain, there's a remnant of those who are meant to remain. And not only will he send you new friends, but he'll make your old friends new in their mind, and they'll grow with you. So even in that, like, you know,
that
like
part's good.
Yeah, this is the place that I'm in now. And it's like some days I'm like, God, I don't really hang around nobody, be around certain people. And it was seasons where it was certain people that I'm, reconnecting with to a degree now, that I was like, yo, I realized, like, God, I never want to seem like I'm acting funny and moving different, but I am. Yeah. I'm not acting funny, but I am moving different. So God literally, and for the ones that will really push you to that purpose and push you to that place, yeah, God will change not only you in it, he'll change the people around you, that very circle that literally, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't swim with everybody. You can't swim with everybody, because there's somebody that may be left behind that's going to pull on your leg and say, hey, I'm you're going to drag you down. So like literally, I think that's a very intentional prayer. But even in that, I would say pray for God to give you the grace and give you the comfort and what that transformation actually looks like, because that's a big place.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I believe that.
Yeah, but that's my.
I'm over here writing notes.
Yeah.
No, that I can't say nothing. That's like a mic drop. Like
that's good.
That part right there, like God will not only change you, but he will change the people around you. Yeah. Like, and that's what I meant earlier when you said about the therapy thing. I said people reap off of that. Like the people around you, not just restricted to your household, but literally people around you reap off of your transformation. It's like there's women right now that are waiting for me to show up. There's women that are waiting for Danielle to show up to be who God's calling her to be. There's men waiting for you to be the better version of y'all, so y'all can show up and be who y'all supposed to be. And that's that thing that really keeps me, honestly, I'm not joking. No matter how many times I wanted to quit, I think the thing that literally keeps me is, girl, this is not even about you. It's like legitly, your transformation is not even about you. People, so what is that? We before a cloud of witnesses. People need to see the transformation so they can have hope and believe. Oh yeah, I can do that. Ain't no way, because that girl used to smoke weed, get drunk, smoke cigarettes, sexting, slipping, dipping, flipping. But God, like literally, all she do is talk about God now. You know what I'm saying? He from the streets. He from down the streets. But
from the streets too. You can say it.
He's from down the street. He's from down the bottom.
Down the street.
He's down the streets. He's from the streets. No, but for real though, he's from West Philly. Like he's from down the bottom. Shout like look, shout out to the bottom. Shout out to the bottom. But then it's like, but then look. But literally, he walking the red carpet. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, AJ, I don't know where you're from, but I heard you say my real live hood ninjas. I heard you say it like my real hood. I can't remember what you used.
Keep him around. Keep him in the tuck. In case for that phone.
No, don't keep him in the tuck. But no, for real though. But no, listen though. But for real though. But then here you are, celebrity stylist. Here you are on flyers with some of the, the biggest gospel people in gospel. So it's just, and Danny, I mean, again, every time my husband wears his glory train, it fills the room. Like literally, not even joking. And I just, Y'all think I'm playing?
We're gonna talk about this because I need a line.
Wait, no, listen. He really.
Well, you can't hear you, Danny.
He wore.
Oh Lord.
I don't even know what to call it. I'm about to call it a shuck, but I know it's not a shuck. He wore his, what is it called? What are they called? His long duster.
There you go.
I'm not joking. This is not the first time that this has happened though. But when I say this is no lie, we went to church and he had to pray in the morning huddle. Homeboy had me wrecked before 7:50. Like, like only when he wears the duster, y'all. But it's something special on him when he wears the duster. I'm not joking. So I'm gonna leave mine in my closet because I'm not.
Y'all wear yours.
But no, you know what's funny though? For a solid year, I would not minister without one of them on.
Seriously?
For a solid year, I would not minister without one of Danielle's dusters on for a solid year.
Because them Jones is anointed.
Danielle, log off, log back on. We can't hear you. Log off, log back on, Danielle.
No, them Jones is really anointed. I know. Look, poor Danny.
I know. I need her to hear all this. We need to hear from her.
No,
and her anointed dusters.
No, they're really anointed. I'm not joking, but I mean, y'all are some of the most. I love y'all so much. I really do. Y'all are some of the most.
We can't get a date in with y'all, but we love y'all.
You always in out of town.
You always in Alabama.
On another coast.
I know, right?
Minnesota, first of all.
Well, I didn't want to pitch a location out there. I didn't want to tell the people.
You're always on a plane going somewhere. Like, look, like he always on a plane going somewhere. Like, and me and Danny at home just being wives. Okay.
Right. Y'all not just being wives, y'all are being extraordinary women. And what I do.
See, Reverend Capers. Yeah, I'm cracking. No, I'm just playing. No, but y'all, I was gonna say that y'all are some of the most creative people. I mean, as soon as someone say anything about me, I'm like, oh, my stylist. My
stylist.
With an S on the end. I'm like, oh, my stylist. Like, yes, I'm so sick. I was just literally, the funny part is I was just talking about AJ, but I was talking about you, Danny, because I was saying that I think I'm trying to have a birthday party at your boutique. Not a party, but like a little shopping thing.
Have a birthday party at your
but
boutique.
I was literally just telling somebody about y'all. Y'all are the most creative people that I have met. Like, you know, very original and unique, if that makes sense. Because, you know, people can be there's a lot of creative people, and I love a lot of creative people, but my mom says she loves y'all spirit. But
that's my girl.
But,
you know, me and mom, listen. Me and mom connected instantly. That's my girl.
Yeah. Oh. How about she gonna say the other day? I can't remember. She was next to me, and I was like, "Oh, you smell good." She like, "Oh, because I got chemistry on."
That's right.
I was like, "You remember my son-in-law brought that for me."
I did.
But anywho, no. But y'all are some of the most creative people, and I'm so proud of y'all and everything that y'all do.
Thank you, sister.
And I'm grateful.
Thank you.
And I think one of the biggest things like about growth is like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna go deep, but like about being like is not being intimidated by anyone else's, like by your partner's success or the people, not being intimidated by their success. And I think that's the biggest things that, like, you know what I mean, not comparing, not you know, I'm always pushing. Like, I love how y'all always push one another. Like Kyle always like, listen, babe, you're gonna do it. Nope. Not, because at the end of the day, it's easy to fall into the background of somebody who's always in front.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But no, like y'all have your own, you know what I mean? Like if
talking about that next week.
Like y'all had y'all have you have your own anointing, then y'all has her own anointing. And when y'all tap into y'all place, it does nothing but sharpen ours, encourage ours, build ours, push us to grow. And it leaves less room for the enemy to begin to creep in, because you don't present. She can't resent me. You can't resent Kyle, because you don't feel like because you're pushing his gift that you slacking.
Yeah. No, that's so good. That's really good. You know, I said to my husband, I said, we you know, life is life. And I told him, I said, this situation that we're going through right now, I was in this by myself. I said, but ain't no way we gonna go through it the same way, because there's too much power in my house. Like, I wasn't playing with him. Like, it is too much power in this house to be defeated by the enemy. Like, I don't care what you say. And for me, that's a transformed, renewed mind, because it's easy to fall back to what you know. It's easy because it clicks. Look, trauma, it clicks that place for me when I was single with, with foster kids and a kid, no job, in divorce, all in a matter of 2 months. Like, no husband, divorce, raising 3 kids, no job. Literally, so easily those things can trigger if we going through, a hard time, or in our, whatever it is, even if our marriage with disagreement, finances, world, whatever, not world problems, but whatever issues or circumstances that we facing, it's too much power. And I think people forget the power that you have. Yep. Like, literally, we have power and authority to speak to that thing. Just like what you said, AJ, that day she said, "Oh, I wish I could quit the date," and she quit. And that day she quit. Pretty much that day it was over. Literally, because I think people forget the power, the power that you have. Like, life and death is in the power of the tongue. I tell my kids at school this all the time: watch what you say out your mouth. And they think I be playing. I'm like, no, watch what you say, because if whatever you say, it happens. Like those vows, like I don't want to be, and we talked about that last week too, how a thought becomes your words, a word become action, the actions become your character, and then it becomes your destiny, in all honesty. But you can have, of course, the power to change your trajectory of where you're going by your words. But again, it's too much power in this home to be taken out by the enemy. And listen, life is life, and I get it, but it's too much power.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I love y'all. Danny, did you want to say anything? Because you got a little caught up.
I don't know what happened, but it was a few things. But I kind of think I missed my segue into where y'all had because I had to get off. But I know the last thing I remember before it cut me off was that you guys were talking about people and letting go and being the one. So I know for me, like, I was never one who had a lot of friends because I had a lot of family. So I didn't do a lot of the friend thing. But I feel like when I was let go from my job, God had to use me as an example that it can be. Because to this day, like, my manager, who made double what I made back then, she still calls me now for business advice. All of my bankers who were under me, they still call me for advice. Even though some of them transitioned back into banking, they still call me. Even some of my clients and customers from banking still call. And then I will say I did have a glory moment, because the day I got fired, it was another manager had to come, because they knew that I was close to my manager. So he wasn't gonna be able to carry out the task without being emotional. He took my keys, and he knew who I was. He was another manager, and I was a manager too. But he came, he snatched my keys from me. Like, you would have thought I stole money from the bank. That's why I was fired. The way he treated me was like I was a criminal, and I think that crushed me, because I was like, dang, I gave you all this time.
Yeah.
Difference is, like, I didn't get fired for stealing or any of that. I got fired for what my paperwork said, a policy I didn't know was there. It's a whole nother situation. I had to make up a reason to fire us, but that's the whole thing. But one day I went to visit, because I people like, even Anthony in the beginning was like, how you gonna still be friends with her? She knew she could have called you on your day off. Like, I was cracking data and told you that if that's your friend, she can tell you. And I was mad for that weekend, but I got over it. But I remained her friend, like, because God didn't have me. She wasn't one that had to be removed. She wasn't. And to this day, she's still an asset to, my life. But I got to see that manager. I went to go visit her. Someone told me to get her a smoothie bowl one day. And I went to take, because we always used to talk about health foods. And since I'm not there no more, they eat crazy at the bank. So we were talking. I said, I'm going to bring you this bowl. So I went to bring her this fruit bowl. And he's so happened to be there. And he looked at me. And at first, I didn't know he was in there. She pulled me outside. And I should have known something was weird, because she made me come outside. And then him being nosy, had to come outside. He was leaving, or act like he was leaving, so he could see who she was talking to. And when he saw me, he said, "Oh, hey, Danielle." I said, "Hey, how are you?" And he said, "You just glowing." I said, "That's God." Yeah. I said, I'm not stressed out. I don't have to clock in. Nobody has something when I go to lunch. I'm free. and he's like, "Oh," because in corporate America, they know that side of me. So he was like, "Oh." I said, he said, "How's your business?" I said, "My business is doing well. That's why I'm still an entrepreneur." I said, "You took my keys that day?" Because I had to let him know. I remember that he took my keys away and would let me get my purse. I said, "When you took my keys that day," I said, "I've been growing ever since."
I know that's right.
I got my chance to look at him and say, "So thank you." And again, and to this day, everybody who was under me or was attached to me in some way, shape, or form see that it can be done. Because many of them had called like, Dan, you don't want to come back to banking? I'm at Chase Bank now. Won't you come get a job here? They tried to get me to come back. And I'm like, no, they ain't where God got me.
Exactly, because you can't go back to where you coming out of.
I can't. Or they're like, well, I can get you this management position. You can make this amount of money. I can't. Because to me, that's a stab in the face to God. Like, he gave me all this. And literally,
he gave you the out, right?
And literally, when my husband said my business has grown, I'm in my now third space and now have two spaces, two of the biggest spaces in the warehouse that I'm in. So I could never. So to go back would be like to spit in God's face. So So I feel like sometimes he remove you from people just to show others it can be done. Or this is what it looks like. Trust me.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
We better wrap this up because we know we'll talk all night.
I know. No, we wrapping it up right now. No, I was going to say thank you. I really appreciate you. God always blows my mind. I'm not even joking. You know, listen, and that's me. I need to renew my mind because sometimes I think so small. I'm not going to lie. Like, oh, this is going to just be a conversation real quick because you know how we do. But it's like, y'all really blew my mind. I literally was over this joint taking notes. Like, you can't see them because of the light, but I was literally over here taking notes because it was just so good. So I really appreciate y'all. I love y'all so much. I really do.
No, we love y'all for real.
Yes.
Every time I hang up, I'm all riled up. Like I want to do a backflip. I'm all riled up now. I got to figure out how to channel this energy. Something I got.
I'm cracking up.
No, he's serious. I'm like, no, he's serious though.
No, I'm riled up. Like I'm literally inside. I'm like this. Like yeah. But I love that. And we transitioning together. You ain't leaving us. Know that.
I know. Listen, I know that's right. I know that's right. But we love y'all. All right, y'all. Thank you for hanging out. We never go 1 hour and 26 minutes and 44 seconds. But every bit of a minute and a second was definitely worth it. I really appreciate y'all. I'll be back here next Thursday. Next Thursday is the last Thursday for the year. We closing out 2023 with my folks. Very happy to announce my folks that will be on here next week. Huh? Yeah, I couldn't get it out. I was trying to think about who it was. I'm not even joking. I was trying to think about who it was.
I knew you was doing.
Like I know who it is. I always know who it is, but I just, I can't remember. But anyway, it's gonna be the Heaths, Stephanie and JP Heath. They're the worship leaders at the Family Church. They are great friends of ours.
Entrepreneurs.
I was about to say. Yes. Teacher. No, Shane, no teacher.
So she's an administrator.
She's an administrator. I'm sorry. I gotta touch stuff.
You shake the camera and making noise.
She's an administrator, clothing line, worship leader. They all this. Mom, wife, dad, husband. Yeah. Yep. So I'm very excited to have them on next week. I thank y'all too. I'm so serious. The best creatives I know. Not even joking. I really appreciate y'all. I appreciate where y'all going. I appreciate where y'all are now. I appreciate where y'all been because y'all ain't going nowhere if you ain't been nowhere. And I appreciate your transparency. I appreciate you being transparent in all honesty about that. And I think Reverend Caper said, what she say? Let the air out the tire before. What she say? Did you see it? I don't remember, but she said she's talking about you, AJ, letting the air out the tire before it's something. But it was funny when you said, no, I'ma say it before y'all even get a chance to say it. So I really appreciate you being transparent. I appreciate y'all.
Love y'all.
All right, love y'all.
You too. All right, y'all. See y'all.
There it is. That's right. Take the air out your own tire.
She said, take the air out your own tire. Yep. There we go. Yep. Take the air out your own tire. So now I appreciate you. What you say?
Won't deflate me.
Right. All right, y'all. See y'all. Love y'all.
You wasn't gonna give me a chance to say anything. Wrap up. It was too long.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Normally she gives me, he's like, "Hey, babe, you want to say something?" This time she just went.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The Holy Spirit told me to tell you.
Uh-oh. Really?
No, but in honesty though, he really did tell me to tell you guys, and I want to say it publicly, is that the vision that you have prepared for 2024, he said reassess it because it's not big enough. Go back, look it over, and add to it. He said go deeper and go higher. That's it.
Love y'all.
Love you.
Love y'all.
Love you.
Peace.
Bye.